Another Gay Horror Pod with Stuart Ross and Jesse Tabbitt.
It's counting down.
I like when you do your sexy John Kramer voice.
We should start every episode with, do you want to play a game? Or do you want to record an episode?
I think my fear in general would be that someone doesn't want to play a game. And then they just turn our episode off because they're like, I'm not signing up for games. I'm signing up for gay horror.
I mean, the whole thing is they don't have a choice, right? It's like,
no, I mean, people can turn off the podcast whenever they want to.
I'm just
if we had some sort of saw set up where it was an iPod with headphones and then like a contraption that you couldn't get out of the jaw trap until you were done listening to Another Gay Horror Pod, that would be one thing.
Listeners, slide into the DMs and let us know if you want more Rube Goldberg style traps on camera from us.
Yeah. Because honestly, I'm assuming you all voted yes. So I think next week I now have to make traps now. I don't know. This is not Another Gay Saw podcast.
Could be.
This is Another Gay Horror Pod. I'm Stuart Ross. I'm joined by my intrepid bestie in horror, Jesse Tabbitt.
Intrepid is a great descriptor, and I've never been called intrepid. Thank you very much. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm lying. I don't actually think you're intrepid.
All right, well, I'm gonna tell myself that it was true. So,
but this week, it's not just the two of us. We're joined by Alonso Duralde, who is the chief U.S. film critic for The Film Verdict and a co-host of podcasts Linoleum Knife, Breakfast All Day, Maximum Fun, and Deck the Hallmark. And his books include Hollywood Pride and Have Yourself a Movie Little Christmas, which is the book we're going to be discussing with him today. It was recently reissued by Bloomsbury, updated, modernized, all that stuff. And we're very excited to be joined by Mr. Duralde. Hi, Alonso. Thanks so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
Thanks for having me. Thrilled to be here.
Yeah, no, it's really. I was really enjoyed looking through the Have Yourself. Oh my God, Have Yourself a Movie Little. Oh my God. I'm so sorry.
Your Christmas tome. You really enjoyed your Christmas tome.
I do this to myself. Like 15 years later, I still can't say a linoleum knife half the time without stumbling upon it. Have yourself a movie Little Christmas.
Yes. And I do this thing where before we have someone on, in my brain, I say it forward and forward and forward and forward and forward. So I have it. And then as soon as we get on and the camera goes on, my brain is like, have yourself a movie, Little Mary. It's just like the minor dyslexia in the back of my brain really, really fucking with me.
Activated.
But yeah, we're talking about your book, Have Yourself a Movie Little Christmas today, which was, I love books like that. I love of the books where you can just get a lot of information about a lot of different things.
No, that tends to be my sweet spot. I one of these days I have to write like one book about one topic, but I like to cover a wide swath. That's a good way to go.
Yeah. Well, it's also, I feel like they're books that are not as prevalent anymore because the like Wikipedia and stuff, but like I miss the like sort of encyclopedic knowledge of one topic style of books, this is what it is. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I still have a shelf of film reference books that I will, consult periodically. And I'll know an exact thing is going to be in this one book and I want to hear this one person's take on it or whatever. But yeah, certainly in the internet has made it harder to sell books in general, to like be a published author in general.
Yeah.
At least, if you're not self-publishing, but at the same time, I think there is something about having a reference book that is different than just sort of like typing it into Google and seeing, playing Russian roulette,
Definitely. Yeah. I also, Alonso, you're based in LA, right?
That's right.
I also feel like in LA, there's no shortage of places, specifically like bookshops to go to, where there's like dedicated sections, maybe even whole bookshops where you can find information, like very specific information on topics.
Absolutely. Until recently we had a really great horror bookstore, in Burbank.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I think there's still a like an all romance bookstore, and an old cookbook bookstore. But yeah, I love that, and I think most big cities, like there are still people who kind of cling to their physical media, whether it's, Blu-rays or books or vinyl or whatever. But yeah, I love writing these. And so I'm glad that there's still somebody out there who wants to read them.
Yeah, I'm telling myself physical media is making a comeback. I feel it in the air. I mean, I'm biased because I love Criterion, but I don't know, right? Am I crazy?
We can't trust the streamers. We can't trust anybody to make this stuff available. It's going to be there for a second and then suddenly poof. And even, there's that whole thing where people bought, quote unquote, a digital copy of something from Amazon and then suddenly just nope, not there anymore.
Right.
So yeah, I'm a big believer in hunkering down and having the thing on a disc or on paper or whatever so that it can't be taken away.
Yeah. Also, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but a disc doesn't, at any given time while you're watching it, doesn't need to buffer. It doesn't really get weirdly pixelated. And I don't know, anytime I read anything on Apple that's 4K, I'm like, yay, it's 4K available. And then it buffers 87 times while I'm watching it. And I'm like, this sucks.
Well, me and my husband have a lot of holiday horror traditions. Sort of, we watch April Fool's Day every April Fool's Day. We watch My Bloody Valentine every Valentine's Day. And every given time that you're in the season for the horror movie, it's not streaming anywhere. They're trying to get you to buy it. So I have a huge collection of physical media now because I'm like, well, I just want to know it's there. I don't want to have to look for it. I don't want to have to be like, oh, it was on Paramount Plus last month, but now it's on Netflix, but it's the wrong.
Especially if you have a
Netflix.
Timeline that you're clearly working with here.
Exactly.
Gotta have a thing.
Have you always been a big Have you always been a big Christmas movie guy?
Well, I've always been a Christmas guy and I've always been a movie guy. So I think eventually I kind of figured out that those two things dovetailed in a way. Yeah, exactly. I put it, my chocolate and my peanut butter came together. But yeah, I think it's, over the course of my life, I feel like I've seen the idea of what a Christmas movie even is really evolve. I grew up in the 70s. And so, It's a Wonderful Life was constantly on TV, and I think that, from that point, jumping off to Ted Turner realizing, oh, that's a way to get people to love a movie. I'm going to show A Christmas Story for 24 hours on TNT or, whatever channel I'm currently running, and then now I think we're in sort of the Hallmark / post Hallmark period, where it's kind of become codified, not necessarily what's in a Christmas movie, but just that they exist and that this time of year people will turn to certain things as like you do with the different holidays, like, oh, it's Christmas time, it's time to dig out these movies and watch them again. And what I'm trying to go for here is the idea of yes, I'm all for this, but maybe mix it up a little. There are a ton of options out there, and whatever kind of movie you like, there is a Christmas one of those at least,
Yeah. Well, I love that the book is broken by genre, and so you can sort of I always gravitate towards horror, obviously, but you love your diehards too. You love your action, you love your crime Christmas movies, and it's a great encyclopedia of just broken down by genre. Whatever you're feeling, you can sort of break in. What's this is sort of a trite question, but what is your favorite all-time Christmas movie?
I mean, I'm an American. I think I have to say It's a Wonderful Life because that really is a cornerstone movie. But as you say, though, I think there are Christmas movies for all moods. So it's I will definitely watch It's a Wonderful Life every Christmas, but I have to gird myself for that one because that movie is a roller coaster. It really takes you to some emotional depths before bringing you back up and giving you this wonderful, affirming ending. But sometimes I want to see a wacky comedy. Sometimes I want to see a fun, somewhat violent action movie or a horror movie or a tearjerker or whatever, and so that was the idea of kind of divvying this up and being here are all these different kind of ways to approach what a Christmas movie even is, and whatever kind of flavor you like, whatever mood you're in, there's something that'll work for you.
And to that point, follow-up question, what's your favorite unorthodox Christmas movie? So it could be not Christmas forward, but takes place during Christmas, whatever.
Well, I'll tell you, one that we definitely watch every year is a Katharine Hepburn and Spencer Tracy comedy called Desk Set. And
Okay.
it's about a research department at a TV network that happens to be located at 30 Rockefeller Plaza.
Okay.
And Spencer Tracy plays like an efficiency expert guy who's basically coming in to install a computer. And mind you, this is the 1950s, so the computer is like the size of a room.
Yeah, they're like, what's that?
Yeah, an electronic brain. And it's not a Christmas movie per se, but there is a lengthy sequence involving like the network Christmas party where like everyone's getting incredibly tanked, and they're wheeling in pianos from different rooms and into the reference department stuff. And so it's a lot of fun, and there's a fun Christmas segment in it. So that's one that we go to all the time. But I think there are a lot of movies that at first blush people might think, oh, is that a Christmas movie? But then you look at it like, I mean, Eyes Wide Shut is
totally
so a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
I just somehow found this. It's been on the internet forever, but somebody on YouTube did a supercut of every Christmas tree in Eyes Wide Shut, and there are so many.
100.
There are so many. Every time somebody walks into a room, it's like the rule at Hallmark, where every office, every kitchen, everything has to be just like covered in garland and
decorated
and twinkle lights. Yeah, like that's what's except for the orgy. Every room in Eyes Wide Shut is hallmarked out the yin yang.
Yeah, that's
and I'm
so
sure
true.
if you zoom real deep into that orgy, you can find a Christmas tree somewhere.
Yeah, there's like
we put up mistletoe, teehee.
Yeah, Stanley Kubrick famously a Christmas fiend.
Well, but I think he's doing it on purpose. He's doing it on purpose in the same way that like a lot of I think Christmas horror movies work, which is the idea of Christmas as a counterpoint. I think we tend to think culturally still of Christmas as this beautiful, innocent time. It's a time of peace and love and family and community and charity and all that stuff. And so if you have a movie that's about, it's Christmas, but we're robbing a bank, or it's Christmas and there's a serial killer on the loose, then it just becomes that much more of a juxtaposition.
Yeah. Like I got to say Batman Returns, I think is my favorite.
There you go.
Christmas movie.
Great one. Yeah.
Yeah. Love it.
And what do you think? Because if you look back, I mean, like A Christmas Carol is kind of a horror movie or a horror story. Yeah,
definitely.
In the most wonderful time of the year when they sing, there will be scary ghost stories. It's like, there
ghosts.
will be, because that's what A Christmas Carol is. And in fact, in Dickens's era, it was Christmas Eve was considered the night that the veil between the two worlds was at its thinnest. And so there are a lot of Christmas ghost stories. Like that's a whole subgenre of Victorian era literature.
Well, it's also, solstice. It's right by the shortest day of the year. Which, I mean, darkness is scary. Especially,
That's
I'm
why
sure
we're lighting fires,
Yeah, especially before electric light. But so I was reading through the book, and the interesting tidbit I had never seen before is that Black Christmas, when released in America originally, was not called Black Christmas because I think it was Warner Brothers released it, and they were worried that that Americans were gonna think it was a movie for Black audiences.
Yeah. They thought it was called like Silent Night, Evil Night, I think. And you still see like that one sheet floating around. But Warner Bros. Was like, well, if we call it Black Christmas, people are gonna think that it's like a blaxploitation movie or whatever, and white audiences won't go. So it's like, okay, whatever, guys.
Oh my god!
What it is,
it was
it's also
the 70s.
Yeah. Wild time.
It's also really interesting because Bob Clark directed two of the best Christmas movies, which is Black Christmas and A Christmas Story. Do you know, was he a big Christmas guy? I don't know if you personally know if he was a big Christmas guy.
I don't know if that was just sort of like a coincidence or what, but it is one of those kind of crazy things where like, they couldn't be more diametrically opposed, and yet they've still become essential parts of the Christmas canon, certainly. Frank Capra made another movie about a guy contemplating suicide on Christmas Eve, Meet John Doe, which was the last film that he made before going off and working for the War Department during World War II and making the Why We Fight films. And then the first movie he made after coming home was It's a Wonderful Life. So he clearly still had, some things to work out there.
Yeah.
Some Christmas feelings to work out.
I guess, yeah.
What is sort of like a Christmas horror movie that maybe not everyone has seen that you would recommend to people?
I mean, there are a bunch. I give it a whole chapter. I'm a big fan of Better Watch Out, which is a relatively recent entry.
Yes.
Have y'all had Chris on the show? Like, you should.
No,
but we
covered the movie
didn't
last
we?
year.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's so
'Cause
good.
gay director. Like, you know, I think
Yeah.
he's
I didn't know that.
Yeah, super
That's right.
talented, and I love that movie. I just think it takes you to such unexpected places, and there's this growing subgenre of like post Home Alone films that are directly or indirectly addressing Home Alone. You know, like in Violent Night, there's the whole subplot about the little kid making the booby traps, and they're just really horrifying. You know, I think Better Watch Out kind of takes the idea of like, what happens when Kevin McAllister becomes a horny tween, you know?
Yes.
I think the idea that it was shot entirely on a soundstage in Australia blows me away because it very effectively uses like the snow and stuff, you know?
Yeah, it's so good. I'm glad you said that. And Virginia Madsen is the
she has a cameo
right?
at the beginning, and she and Patrick Warburton are the parents at the beginning and the end. Yeah,
that's right.
Which is just like,
I love that movie. And they did a really good job marketing it too. I feel like, I mean, the posters, the cover art, it's like the siblings cowering, and not siblings, it's the boy
kid
and the girl.
the babysitter.
Kind of, they're like kind of like, you know, you don't really have an inclination that he is the awful like killer.
I remember seeing the trailer thinking, ugh, this is telling me everything. And then seeing the movie and be like, oh, no, it didn't tell me anything, actually. It fooled me, you know?
Yeah.
No, that was, I think, the first time I've seen like a bloody Fair Isle sweater used as a key art image. And so I was like, well played, Better Watch Out.
Thank God.
Well, then there's another 70s movie that's called Better Watch Out, or sometimes Christmas Evil. Is that the
Christmas Evil is, I think, You Better Watch Out is the alternate title. Yeah.
Which is sort of like a taxi driver Santa.
Yes, actually, that's not too far off. That's a great one. I got to see that projected this summer for the first time. They did it. They did there's a group called Cinematic Void in Los Angeles that does screenings with Cinematheque, and they did a whole month of really bleak Christmas in July movies, and that was one of them. Brandon Taggart, Fiona Apple's dad, plays this dude who's like a lifelong Santa obsessive and works at a toy factory, and eventually he snaps and goes on this killing spree. But because he is dressed as Santa, the kids like protect him from the mob of angry adults who come after him. It's John Waters' favorite Christmas movie.
Say no more.
That's all you need to know.
Yeah, seriously. Oh, love that.
We do also have some general horror questions that we ask everyone.
Sure.
What's the first horror movie or experience that you had that made you go, I like horror?
See, here's the thing. I don't like horror because
really?
I'm a coward. Like I respect horror and I understand its importance in film. You know, like I think at some point, if you're somebody who really embraces film, you have to hold space, as the kids say, for genres that don't necessarily like appeal to you directly. Like I'm not a big Westerns guy, but I understand that like, you know, John Ford and Sergio Leone and, you know, Bud Bedecker, these people are important and these films are important. So like, with horror, I completely respect and understand its, you know, its validity and its place in film history. But me personally, it's the last thing I want to watch.
Oh my gosh.
This chapter was the hardest one for me to write because I was like, like literally when Terrifier 3 came out and it was a Christmas movie, I was like, oh,
God damn it.
So,
and yet you're contractually obligated to watch it.
Yes, I couldn't not see it. So I watched it with my husband who loves this stuff. And he literally would just like, he's like, okay, cover your eyes now. And I would, and then I would just hear it, you know?
Yeah.
And he'd be like, and then he would tell me when I could look again. And the funny, and here's how I know that movie is like next level in terms of gore.
Yeah.
You do any kind of regular decapitation, you know, spurting blood, whatever. And my husband was like, ha, 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 ha. And watching Terrifier 3, he was like, ho, 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 ho. So like that was a different level.
It was like a guttural laugh.
Yeah, well, the Terrifier series
he's
is
giving
like
the thumbs up.
Yeah, I mean the Terrifier series is truly boundary pushing in that it's utterly disgusting. I've actually only seen the first one, and I was like, you know what? And Stuart knows I love gore, I love body horror, but I don't know that I need to see 2 and 3 just because
it's
really...
what you think you're gonna get when you see like a Herschel Gordon Lewis movie.
Yes,
but they never quite do it. These do it.
Yeah,
but
really
as far as
wild.
like the first time I remember being scared in a movie was Pinocchio.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That fucking whale.
Yeah.
That whale scared the crap out of me. I think I had to be carried out of the theater shrieking.
And even when he gets turned into a donkey, that's
horrifying too. That whole the sequence where all the boys are smoking cigars and suddenly they get turned into donkeys. That is some German folktale moralizing right there.
Totally. It's
that Monstro the whale really did a number on me.
Yeah, it's very Brothers Grimm tale almost. Is that right? Like a Grimm-esque. Yeah. Did you see the Guillermo del Toro iteration?
Pinocchio? Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, speaking
better
of Germans,
than his Frankenstein, I would say.
I also agree. Yeah, it was tighter. It was a little more, I mean, obviously visually appealing because it was stop motion, but didn't love Frankenstein, gotta say.
Me neither.
As the lone Frankenstein defender on this podcast.
You know what I'll say? Beautiful gowns.
Beautiful
gowns.
Sometimes all I need is just aesthetics.
Exactly.
Lovely gowns, beautiful gowns.
Wait, Alonso, it's so interesting that you're horror averse. I feel like now this episode is going to be considerably more just an interesting converssion because usually Stuart and I have people like, yeah, let's fucking go. But dancing around, we're going to have to dance around the horror elements.
I mean, look, I know what show I signed on for here. So we can talk about whatever. But I know that people find horror to be like, purgative in a way, like that it offers sort of like resolutions to things in life that we don't get in life and all that kind of thing. But I've always just been very like, I'm very easily squicked. People tell me when I have to go review a new horror movie, people tell me they like watching me watch horror movies because I'm so reactive all the time. I like, believe me, hats off to the people who make this stuff. Hats off to the fans who watch it and consume it with relish and want more. I'm just over here in the corner going,
What's the last horror movie that you had to review that you were really like, I can't, this is too much. I can't do this. Like,
I walked out of Talk to Me.
Couldn't do it. What? I absolutely get that.
Talk to Me was fucked up.
Brutal and visceral.
The second time the preteens started like, violating himself. I was just like, okay, that's I told my husband, I said, I'll be at B-Doll. I'll be at Barnes and Noble next door. I'm dating myself. B-Doll. I'll be at Barnes and Noble. You call me when this thing's over. We'll meet
you're
up.
So right. It was really brutal.
I didn't see Take Her Back, or Bring Her Back or whatever. So I'm like, no, guys, you
Bring Her Back. I almost
was a good choice.
Threw up and Bring Her like. And I'm not super. I'm more of a like a 90s horror purist. Like I don't need I have never seen the Terrifier movies because I don't like, unless it's like really artful body horror. I don't like splatter.
Sure.
But Bring Her Back it turned my stomach and I had to like look down for a second and capture myself because I was like, I might throw up in this AMC Burbank.
And meanwhile, I'm like 2 seats down. I'm like, yeah, let's fucking go. I'm that guy.
Yeah.
It was nasty.
Well, it's interesting because there, especially like talking about Pinocchio, like a movie that scared me a lot as a child was Snow White. And because the forest scene, and it is like the horror elements in especially those really early Disney movies are
here's a box I want you to put her heart in. I mean, come on.
It's just like an interesting how horror traverses genres and so what is like what do you have a favorite horror movie?
We're forcing you. We're forcing you.
You can say no.
No. There are quite a few that I think are really great. I mean, like I love The Haunting, the original Robert Wise The Haunting.
Sure. Yeah,
scares the crap out of me and does it without showing you a damn thing. And that's my idea of like how to really get into your head is sort of make you imagine this stuff. I remember seeing the original The Hitcher in theaters.
Oh, it's good, yeah.
Which I found really terrifying. It's funny, like all these movies that I saw when I was in college that have since been remade, not nearly as well. The Stepfather, the original with Terry O'Quinn,
Stuart's
I thought
favorite.
was genius.
The Stepfather it's a recent movie that I hadn't seen until about 2 years ago, and now I've seen it like 30 times because there's some streaming channel that's always playing it, and I'll just watch it. It's so good.
It's so good, and
great.
it's such a great like satire of that moment. I mean, I got to do a Q&A with Donald Westlake before he died about that film, and yeah, it is such a pungent satire on like what we were being sold in the Reagan era as far as like, you know, traditional family values and you know all this stuff, and the way that this guy like has this set in his mind, and the second anybody deviates from it, they all got to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's got Jill Schoen, who I talk about all the time. I think she's a really underrated final girl. She's just so good.
Yeah,
and you know what? Shelley Hack, I think, also has always been underrated, even in the Charlie's Angels period.
Yes.
Hell yeah! I need to go back and watch. This Stepfather, not Charlie. I mean, well, Charlie's Angels I could also watch, but I actually just watched The Hitcher last year for the first time. Super homoerotic.
Oh, totally,
like,
yeah.
Really
which I think went
homoerotic.
right over my head when I was a closeted college student. But looking at it, I'm like, oh my, you two
it's
should just kiss
very
already.
front and center. Yeah,
Yeah.
love it.
And
cool.
you know, like recently, almost the rest of his filmography I've got no use for, but Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead, I have to say, it really worked for me.
Cool, very cool.
Yeah.
I think
Sarah
it might
Polley.
be his best. I think far and away it's his best movie, and
Yeah.
I don't know if it's.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because James Gunn's screenplay is pretty tight. I don't know. I just think it was his debut feature as well, right? So maybe he just like put some extra sauce on it. Whereas,
Wait, was that before 300?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, I think.
Wow. Okay, maybe it was his debut feature. Yeah,
I think it was
Yeah,
04 and 06, maybe.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what he did there that he doesn't do anymore. Certainly not even like his other, like the zombie sequels that he did for Netflix. Is kind of but that one really works.
I think it was so good that he just kind of became a he didn't become a yes man, but people just allowed him to sort of. He wasn't restrained.
People stopped telling him.
People stopped telling him
the George Lucas effect.
Yes, honestly, respectfully, the Guillermo del Toro effect. I think after the hot take, but post Shape of Water, he's just kind of. Beautiful gowns left and right. And I'm like, come back in. Let's get back to like Blade 2 and Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
Like, I love the genre.
Pan's Labyrinth. I mean,
Pan's
like
Labyrinth.
The parts of Frankenstein that I liked the most were like, oh, this is because it reminds me of Crimson Tide. Not Crimson Tide.
Pan's
Crimson
Labyrinth.
Peak. Crimson Peak.
Crimson Peak. Sure. Yeah.
But it is as her number one defender. It's too long. It's too long. It needs to be 30, 40 minutes shorter. But honestly, most movies should be a little bit shorter.
Yeah, it could have also been, I mean, obviously it's with Netflix production. It could have been they could have done it as like a mini series because it's split into two parts. So when I was watching it, I was thinking, oh, this would have been an interesting.
Well, I mean, yeah, because when the movie laps itself, when we realize we're about to hear all of this again, but from the monster's point of view, I don't know if I was audible about it, but in my head I was going, oh no, not again! Like really, we're starting over.
Yeah.
We're not almost at the end.
An hour in, you're like, oh god, another hour to go.
Wrap it up, Guy.
That happened for a second at the end of the second Wicked movie, where you get back to the beginning of the first Wicked movie, and I was like, oh no, what are we? And I was like, okay, we're good.
Oh my gosh!
It made me for a second. I was like, is this movie 40 minutes longer? And it was like, no, we're not. Okay, we're good.
Alonso, are you a Wicked head?
I am not. I've actually been getting some shit online about this because I did not give it a good review. I like other Schwartz shows. I mean, like I watch Godspell every Easter, and I'm an atheist, but Wicked just was never my jam, and I think the movies are kind of bloated and eye assaultive. There are some cool ideas in there, but I've read some really great takedowns of this new one. One from a friend of mine who wrote sort of an unofficial Oz sequel novel who really knows his L. Frank Baum and was kind of
Ooh.
parsing out, okay, well, now if the Tin Man is this, then it doesn't make sense that, and if the Cowardly Lion has actually met Elphaba before, then how would he not know,
Yeah.
And then Justin Chang really gave it put the hammer down in the New Yorker, which I admired, where he basically says that the politics of the movie, like the Oz is presented as such a generic collection of extras that the movie treats, that we're supposed to feel like we're so smart that we see through the sort of political chicanery here, but it's like we never know what that chicanery is or means or reflects upon the way that Oz is being run, and so the movie's kind of condescending to us as well, because it doesn't. You can't have a movie about a despot and then not explain why it's bad to have a despot. We just it is, he's lying, it's bad, but how does that manifest itself in the day-to-day of the people who live under his rule,
Well, and I think I liked the movie better than I'm not a big Wicked musical fan, but I liked the movies better than I liked the play. But I think the lost opportunity in the second part especially was adding songs, but not adding a song from the point of view of the animals or the people in Oz.
Yeah, true.
And especially Sharon Clark, who was in Caroline or Change on Broadway, who was a Tony Olivier winner, she plays Dulcibert, the bear midwife. And so I was like, well, of course she's going to sing in Act 2, and she doesn't. And I'm like, and there's a whole song at her,
right?
And I was like, okay, we're getting a lot of the POV of these two women, and it is sort of like a meme of these two women make their breakup about everyone else.
Well, yeah, they're both kind of Karening it, because it becomes so much about them, and they talk a good game about defending the animals, defending the people of Oz, but those folks never get a spotlight or a solo,
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun hearing you guys dig into the narrative and musical components. I'm surface level. I just feel like they're visually flat and bloated. I don't even need to dig into it. I'm just they're not appealing to me. I understand the love for the music and the musical and the story, but I just don't think.
Yeah, no, I don't begrudge, but I'm with you. I find them kind of visually assaultive.
Yeah, they're flat for sure.
I think there have been some really good musicals in recent years that nobody went to see. The Color Purple, I thought was terrific.
Oh,
Color Purple's incredible.
And that that did zero box office.
I also liked Kiss of the Spider Woman, but I
loved Kiss of the Spider Woman, and nobody went to see that.
Yeah, no,
Tonatiuh is amazing in that.
Poor J-Lo.
Yeah,
I
really enjoyed it, and then we got out, and both my husband and our friend were like, bad, and I was like, no,
really? Chris said bad?
It's so good.
He's Chris, he's polite, but he, in his words, said flop.
He said,
wow, no, I've seen it twice. I thought it was great.
How was J-Lo?
I thought she was really good.
She's terrific.
I think they're doing the AI makeup thing on her, so a few times her performance feels a little weird to me. I think there's a filter over her. But other than that,
I just sort of figure there kind of always is for
there definitely
stars
is.
of that stature. But to me, it's this sort of perfect. I mean, again, to bring it back to queer horror, Bill Condon, I think, is the only guy who can give you high gloss MGM musical number and also shithole nightmare political prison. And so he comes from a horror background, but also is the Dreamgirls guy. So he's got all of that stuff in his paint box.
Candyman,
and I think
too.
Candyman too.
Alonso.
Exactly.
I interrupted you.
The something of the flesh.
Farewell to the Flesh.
Farewell to the Flesh. Thank you.
Yes.
And he wrote Strange Behavior and Strange Invaders. But and then I think J-Lo is kind of the only person who can embody that kind of old school, musical queen. But also do the grittier numbers that are not set in the movie within the movie, where they're talking about how to survive being in a political prison when you're being tortured, So I feel like everybody's where they should be and doing it right. And I think that, Diego Luna's terrific, but Tonatiuh, I'd never seen him before in anything, and he's fucking kills it. And should absolutely be in the Oscar conversations.
Yeah.
I feel like if that exact same movie came out 15 years ago, it would have gotten better reviews and would have been seen by a lot more people. I think people are a little too quick to cast aspersions and to decide, oh, I don't like this, or this didn't work, or blah 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 blah. I have like a really bigger question for you. What is it like being a reviewer in sort of the age of everyone's a reviewer?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely changed a lot. When I graduated from college, and my first big job was at a newspaper. And that's
print
like
journalism.
Yeah, exactly. That's like I was the best of the harpsichord repairmen. So yeah, it's all changed radically, and the internet in a lot of ways has been. Like with anything else, there's got great aspects and it's got shitty ones. The joke I always have about film criticism that it's like pornography. It got harder to get paid to do it when people at home were willing to do it for free. So I think there's a lot of voices out there, and I think certainly the fact that it's not all reliant upon newspapers and magazines mean we're getting more women, more people of color, more queer voices, disabled people, like whatever it is, like there are, there are more options out there and there's less filtering going on. At the same time, I think it's harder for people who are interested in movies to nail down the voices that they find of interest, whether they are people who consistently agree with them, consistently disagree with them, challenge their notion of what movies ought to be.
Right.
And so, but I think if people are willing to shop around some, it's not like where, oh, well, I get the New York Times, and so I read the New York Times and I follow the New York Times. But like, I think if you are listening to podcasts, if you are going to people's, not Substack because they got Nazis, but the equivalent of Substack, or however you're finding your film critics out there, you are required to do, I think, a little more legwork to sort of, find those people. But I kind of feel like the people who do find me and do like what I have to say, whether or not they agree with me, are all the more likely to stick around for things. So like they'll see me on a YouTube show and then they'll go listen to my podcast, or they'll listen to my podcast and they'll go read me on Film Verdict or whatever. So it's a different world. It's not like it's a handful of, there's Pauline Kael and Roger Ebert, like sort of setting the tone for things. But I think that there are a lot of people out there practicing this well and, with interesting things to say, and it's just a question of finding them.
I will say that's why I find Letterboxd pretty helpful as well. It's easy to both seek out people that are like have similar tastes as you, and also find new people. And I love it. Not to plug Letterboxd, but it makes it easy and it's intuitive. And
that's a good way to find people. Like, I mean, Rotten Tomatoes, if you can move past the number and actually sort of like start reading the takes, that at least gives you an idea of like, this 2-sentence blurb I find interesting. I'm going to click and read the whole review and see what I can get from that.
Yeah, I used to use it like in high school and early college. I was like, how convenient. And then because it's become such a staple, like in marketing, in like judging a movie, I'm like, this feels like weirdly gamified and like commercialized in a way that's like not healthy for the movie industry. I don't know. I might be off base on that.
I think there's a case to be made. Certainly, I know that like I have occasionally had things where either I've been asked if I had a mixed review, could I maybe nudge it into fresh,
Really?
Or even,
that's not surprising.
Or even like if I gave a fresh review on like I was on NPR or something where I don't normally post my review, and they'll be like, hey, could you post that one? Because we're really trying to get X number of them so we can then be certified, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So yeah, there is a certain level of it being a numbers game. And I think that the numbers don't always say what the numbers don't always mean what the numbers say,
It's an aggregator.
Yeah. Like it's an aggregator, but even then, like it's 66 positive. Those positive reviews could all be like 3 out of 5.
Mediocre.
Lukewarm, So I think it's helpful as the aggregator aspect of we're listing all the reviews that we're talking from. We have at least a short blurb from each of those reviews, and then that's a good way to kind of scroll down the list and be like, oh, this person says this thing I totally agree with, or this person says this thing that is diametrically opposed to what my takeaway from this film was. I want to read more about their thought process and how they got there. So it can be useful, but I think it just relying on the number and thinking that the number means something, can kind of lead you astray.
I worry sometimes that not filmmakers, but studios and producers are making movies trying to get the most, at least half positive reviews. And so, like, for me, I'd rather watch a 20 than like a 73 because I want swings. I'd rather watch a bad movie that took risks.
The F cinema score.
Yes.
You know, if you go back and look at the films that got an F cinema score from the opening night audience, very often those are fascinating movies, but they just didn't give the people who rushed out to see it on opening night what they thought they were going to get, you know?
Yeah.
So like Steven Soderbergh's Solaris, you know, or Richard Kelly's The Box, which I'm a fan of. You know?
Hell yeah.
And it's a Christmas movie.
Oh, that's true. He hasn't made a movie. Has he made a movie since then?
I don't think he has.
What the? Wait a minute. I'm sorry. What the hell?
I don't know what's going on with Richard Kelly. Not to come back to the five and dime, Richard Kelly.
Yeah, seriously, not to go off on a tangent, but I just for the first time last year, I sat down and watched beginning to end Southland Tales in a theater.
It's so crazy, but
I do see the appeal. Sherry O'Terry, incredible. But I just was like the fact that he got this the fact that he was like given the keys to do this after Donnie Darko just goes to show the power of like Donnie Darko and his like directorial capabilities.
I mean, not a movie I love, but talk about swings. Like that is a very big swing. But yeah, so like the F cinema score movie has kind of become this thing now of like, you know, they're not, some of them just are genuine shit, but some of them are just like,
it's like a calling card.
They just didn't know how to sell this thing. And the people who were sold the thing they sold didn't get the thing they sold when they saw it. You know?
Yeah, ahead of its time.
It's like
F cinema score ahead of its time.
Die My Love had like a D cinema score.
Yes, which I could totally see. Like the people who were like, ooh, it's the new J-Law movie. And then suddenly they find themselves in a Lynn Ramsey movie, which is a very different thing, you know?
Yeah.
Well, and I have, this is a little bit of a tangent, but I had a friend in college who, when Revolutionary Road came out, was like, we're going to go see the new Kate Winslet, what's his name movie.
DiCaprio.
And I had to be like, oh, you don't know what this movie is.
And I like sort
Titanic
of, 2.
And she was like, oh, I'm not seeing that. And I was like, yeah, no, it's not a rom-com, but it is. And like when I liked Die My Love, when we saw it, I think about 3 people at the end of the movie said out loud, that's the worst movie I've ever seen. And I was like, I think that's why I like it. I think it's just I would rather watch something that was different or weird or took a chance. And I just feel like filmmaking to the Rotten Tomato score has made a lot of our movies pretty generic.
Yeah, no, I think, I don't know if it's Rotten Tomatoes necessarily to blame, but I think the idea, whether it's the algorithm or whether it's whatever it is, like kind of focus group sort of stuff. Yeah, they more often than not, you know, like the big studios want to play it safe. And so anybody who just is clearly not playing it safe, you know, that's kind of exciting to watch.
Well, I haven't seen Die My Love yet. And I was just thinking,
Spoilers.
Like, it's interesting. I feel like they all die at the end. It's just like now, historically bankable stars are no longer bankable. Like J-Law, right, and Robert Pattinson are in a drama, like an Oscar caliber drama together, and it kind of like flopped, like commercially incorrectly. Like
somebody on Blue Sky made the point recently. They said the main problem with this fall is that too many people released their One For Me movies at the same time.
Yes, it's very that. It's very that. Well, also it's like Oscars. I guess it's Oscar season, kind of, right? Like,
it's totally.
We're getting toward the end of the year or whatever. But I mean, I like Glenn Powell and The Running Man. Like, you know, I saw that last night, by the way, and honestly, like, really liked it. What else has released recently that has a big star attached, but totally like did not maybe do critically
like,
commercially the best?
I feel like Begonia didn't make a ton of money.
Yeah, Begonia, but also like, you know, money isn't everything. Kiss the Spider-Woman. Yeah, that's a great example. Because 20 years ago, J-Lo would have been a killer at the box office. So I don't know. That's just something that's been floating in my mind.
Yeah,
recently.
I mean that's been an ongoing thing where unless you're Tom Cruise, like the idea of like the list of stars who can open a movie is constantly shrinking.
Yeah,
and
it really is.
And even to the extent of like, well, how much can they open it?
Can you name another? I mean, Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt
to some extent. Although again, I think with Brad Pitt, it's very. dependent on the material.
Yeah.
Like F1, sure, that of course people are going to pack that in, but he'll make some choices sometimes that are like not, super commercial.
Yeah.
Whereas I wish Tom Cruise would make some less commercial decisions.
Think he's getting there with the.
I did a show where we talked about Eyes Wide Shut, and it was like there was that moment where it's like, I'm going to be in the new Scorsese movie, and the Oliver Stone, and the Paul Thomas Anderson, and the Kubrick, and now it's just like I'm going to make another franchise entry that Christopher McQuarrie is going to direct, and it's going to cost $1 gajillion, and it's going to make $1 gajillion, and yay me.
Yeah, you know what? I was listening to the Big Picture Big Picture Pod recently, and they talked about how Tom Cruise was up against Daniel Day-Lewis in. Daniel Day-Lewis ultimately won the Oscar, but Tom Cruise was like so close. And they were saying that like if he had won, like would we have gotten this sort of like you're saying, like artistic Cruise like through line that we absolutely do not have now, right? He like is a superstar and he's built his career more or less.
Maybe the point was to win an Oscar, and if he had won one, he would have done the exact same thing.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough to say, but I mean, I think back to like what he's working on coming up. He's on an Iñárritu movie next year, I think.
Oh, that's true.
Which I'm wondering if that's going to kind of kick off a new era for him. Now that Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning has come out. Now that we've gotten The Final Reckoning. But yeah, other than Tom Cruise, I don't really know that like there's a kind of a movie star in the classical sense. I mean, like Stuart and I just saw After the Hunt, Julia Roberts. Like that was.
I didn't see it. I still haven't seen it.
Oh, I thought we saw it together. Honestly, I kind of liked it. I mean, it was a little bit.
A lot of people liked it.
Totally understand why people didn't like it, but I'm such a Guadagnino head. I don't know. There's just something there that always gets.
Normally,
me.
I am too. Although, I guess actually now it's more of a mixed bag. After that didn't work for me, and I don't like his horror movies.
Really? Oh, Miss Suspiria.
I didn't think Suspiria or Bones and All worked, but
Yeah, I get it.
Maybe I'm not the guy to ask.
No, I totally get it. But yeah, we're at an interesting time in cinema, a chaotic time and a scary time. But
yeah, for sure. And I think that like I just saw some quote from Spielberg where Amblin produced
Hamnet.
Yeah, and his whole thing was like that he wanted to support movies that would get people into theaters that weren't like these big sort of spectacles and whatnot. And I'm not a fan of Hamnet, but I at least appreciate the idea that there needs to be room for movies that you don't feel compelled to see in IMAX, that aren't like these sort of big. I can watch a drama on my couch. I'm only going to go to the theater if they're blowing up cities or whatever, And no, I like the idea of let's get back to the mid-budget drama and figure out how to get people to actually leave their house to go see them. I don't know what the secret sauce there is, but that's the idea.
Well, and it just would be interesting if every studio committed to taking what they would pay for one Avengers movie and making like 10 movies.
I know Marvel really kind of screwed up the cinematic landscape, didn't they?
Yeah, well, I think the problem is like they would rather earn $1 billion on a $250 million movie than earn $100 million on a $15 million movie.
Yeah.
Like that's their accounting now, unfortunately. And so it is left to the A24s and the Neons of the world basically to be like, we'll put out we'll put out whatever smaller kind of thing. I mean, weirdly Netflix is still kind of reliable in that front, like as much as they bury shit and like make a lot of dumb stuff, every so often they'll give you a Train Dreams or a Jay Kelly or something, and it's like, okay, well this is what we're talking about.
You just have to look for it. Back to what you were saying about like, finding critics you like. You just have to dig and find, which sucks that you have to dig and find it, but it's definitely there.
Well, find the critics who will tell you where to find those movies.
Go to Reddit.
That's the trick.
It is hard because there's just so many, and it's sort of what we were talking about earlier with the return to like physical media. Like the information online is so not real anymore. Like I'm very into like the dead internet theory, which is that just at this point more stuff online is fake than real, and at this point more stuff online is produced by computers than people. And but it is like the return to, I buy cookbooks because I don't trust recipes online because I have read recipes that were clearly written by AI.
True.
Like like reference books like Have Yourself a Movie Little Christmas and stuff are really great to look through and to find from someone who knows what he's talking about movies and information about movies. And so I do think, and I hope it doesn't become a two-tiered, there are the people in the know and the people not in the know. I would love if more and more people, if as the internet dies slowly, if more and more people have to rediscover physical books, have to rediscover physical media because they don't trust what they're seeing.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think we're heading that way. Like they just did in the last couple of days. X had some function that was showing the country where like tweets were coming from, and then they yanked it because it turned out that like most of, or if not most, a lot of the sort of right-wing anger bots were in other countries.
Yeah,
you know, like it's this sort of farmed out outrage, and so yeah, I think that I wish that people were taught more media literacy in this country.
Yeah.
You know, to sort of like be able to distinguish, you know, bullshit and propaganda and AI slop from the real deal. But again, I think that's part of the process of like finding critics that you like, is understanding that, oh, you are clearly a human
I hope that education is, I don't really have my finger on the pulse of like curriculum and now taught in universities, but like I'd like to think that there like that is on the rise of like,
hopefully,
here's how to spot a shitty like not real piece of content.
Well, then a sort of in between thing, which I wish people would know more of, is that influencers aren't reviewers.
Thank you. Yes.
And it's sort of, I see, and I'm very involved in horror Instagram. I have my own horror Instagram account, and I'm very mindful to be honest how I feel about things. If I don't like something, I say I don't like it. Lucky for me, I like most things because I'm not that discerning. But you watch these people and they're getting all these like loot boxes from Frankenstein, and they're going to the Wicked premiere, and they're doing all this, and it's not
it's not influencers. Right. I mean, influencers rely upon access.
Yes.
And access is contingent upon marketing. Like you are assisting in the marketing process of this movie. And critics are not part of the marketing process of the movie all the time. We can be. They can choose to like, you know, use the things we say, but we aren't going to temper what we say because we think it's going to lose us access. And this has come up a lot lately. Kristen Lopez has been writing a lot about how studios have really been favoring influencers when it comes to things like advanced screenings, and just, I mean, we don't need the swag boxes. We just want to be able to see the stuff before the movie opens so that we can write about it in a timely fashion, you know? So yeah, that is definitely a thing. And I also hope that people understand that distinction as well.
Yeah. Well, it's, they often will do the, like, you can do your early
social
post about it
or
before
whatever,
the review can be posted, and I just always find that so suspicious.
Yeah, I mean, you know, going back to what you were saying about, you know, rigging the numbers on Rotten Tomatoes, I have literally seen instances where a hand-selected group of critics gets to see a certain movie with the clear knowledge that if they can get 10 people who all like it, then they get that gives them a fresh rating.
Yeah.
For a hot second, you know, until anybody else sees it, and then like down come the numbers.
Or they can maybe delay maybe they can delay the meter display,
embargo.
Or they can just like not prevent, but delay the number from coming, the tomato score from coming up, like however long.
Yeah, like if the embargo lifts like at 5 p.m. on Thursday for a movie opening Friday, they're hiding it, you know.
Well, and I love seeing a movie opening night because I like to try not to let people affect my opinions about things. But like, if the embargo is last minute, I'll be like, I can see it Friday. It's probably not going to be good.
Wait,
and that's the thing where it's like, I don't the game, but I worry the gamifying of the system. The three of us know. And I worry that not a lot of people know it. And that's why everyone thinks movies are bad, because they saw that it had an 80% on Rotten Tomatoes, and then when they went to see the movie, by the time they got out of the movie, it was at 20% because all.
Well, we can only hope this episode spreads far and wide, and people will fucking.
There you go.
Wait, this conversation. So you feel free to cut this, but do you guys know who Kelly Catrone is from The City, from The Hills? Okay,
Yes.
she did like a fantastic takedown. Yeah,
she's like a fashion person,
fashion PR person, and she did a fantastic takedown recently of like why influencers, just because you're an influencer, doesn't mean fashion influencers in particular doesn't mean you're like a fashion expert. I mean, and it's for the same reasons we're talking about it. Like people get online and they spew their opinions and blah blah blah, and the rise of influencers has for better or worse been.
Well, the death of
that's
expertise.
Exactly what she was saying. That's exactly what she was saying.
And that's certainly a downside, I think, of internet film culture, is that like you can build social media following and a podcast empire or whatever else. And it's like, wait, you've never seen a movie released before Star Wars.
Yeah.
But as long as you stay in your little, bubble of the things that you want to talk about and that you think are interesting, that is cinema to you.
I haven't seen anything before Doom 2005. So we're a perfect example of that, Alonso.
Well, it's interesting because like I do have a film critical studies degree. I didn't pursue. I've been mentioning it a lot lately, but I'm mentioning it now to say I don't consider myself an expert. Because I never pursued that. I pursued film production, and I'm trying to establish that most of what we do is coming from the vantage point of fandom, not of expertise.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but I think you just have to kind of be clear about what it is you are and aren't talking about. Like I certainly know that I have big gaps of things that I have no business throwing my opinions around, whether it's like, experimental cinema, giallo, there's a lot of stuff that I'm like, I know little, if not nothing. So, but I will say that I'm a Christmas movie expert just because the best way to be an expert in something is to sign up for the one that nobody else wants.
I also think, just to follow up on that, I think it's like it should be more widely accepted that everyone is entitled to their own opinions. Everyone's. It's wild to think this, but like almost everyone, like every movie you've seen is maybe someone's favorite movie. I like to think about it like that. So
absolutely.
Yeah, in the film space, like oftentimes people like to shout about this is a masterpiece, that's a masterpiece. I think. If you want to shout that out, that's great. Like, I don't know. I just, but.
Yeah, I've certainly, I try not to read the comments because a lot of times, especially on YouTube, I like something and I'm a shill and a hack and I easily, blah, blah, blah. I don't like something, I'm a hater and I'm a this and that. Like, no, the whole point of arts criticism in general is that, like somebody once said to me on Blue Sky, I can't believe we saw the same movie. And I said, no two people ever see the same movie.
Yeah.
Like everybody walks into every film or book or piece of music or whatever with their own life experiences, their own likes and dislikes, their own preferences, their own
viewpoints of the world,
larger scale idea of how the world works and what should be conveyed in art, like all of that kind of stuff. So that's the point of criticism, is like, this person sees the world in this way and I want to see how that reflects on their opinion about this specific thing.
Yeah, you could have stubbed your toe on the way into a movie, and the whole time you're watching the movie, you're thinking about how your toe hurts.
That's so funny you said that, because I heard that. Not to go back to After the Hunt, but when it premiered at the Venice Film Festival, like all the critics were apparently like waiting outside in the rain for like obnoxious amount of time. For some reason, I guess the screening was delayed. And so by the time the screening started, everyone was like soaking and miserable. And that like really sort of lent itself to the viewing experience.
Well, I was not, I didn't go to Venice this year, but I have been in the past and seen a Guadagnino movie premiere there. He is not beloved among the Italian press. He used to be a film critic, and I don't know if it's sour grapes or what. But I was at the first press screening of A Bigger Splash, and all the Italians made this noise at the end of the movie, and I had asked somebody, "Is that applause or are they being rude?" They're like, "Oh, it's rude. It's rude." So yeah.
It's amazing he still will launch a movie at Venice.
He's like, eat it, y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to dig
Look
into
at
that.
me. I'm
Whoa.
working with Julia Roberts.
Yeah. God, she was fantastic after the hunt.
If
After
the whole movie,
Loved
if
it.
the whole movie had been Michael Stuhlbarg being passive aggressive to Julia Roberts for 2.5 hours, I would be in.
10 out
I
of
would
10.
be in for that.
100% Rotten Tomatoes.
I'm trying to think of a final Christmas question, but I don't know if I have one. But thanks so much for joining us. Tell everyone where they can find you, where they can find your work.
Sure. It's I'm the U.S. film critic for the Film Verdict, so you can read my reviews of new movies on that site. I do a ton of podcasts. Linoleum Knife with my husband Dave White, which we just hit 15 years on.
Congratulations!
Thank you. I also do Breakfast All Day on YouTube with Christy Lemire. It's also a podcast. Maximum Film on the Maximum Fun Network, and I pop in regularly to Deck the Hallmark to talk about recent Chris's movies as well. I'm Alonso Duralde on Instagram, Duralde on Blue Sky, and I'm the easiest person on earth to Google. But the revised and updated edition of Have Yourself a Movie Little Christmas is in retailers now. So if your brick and mortar store has it, great. If you need to buy it online, also great. But check it out.
Yeah. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yay.
And you're going to come back later this week, and we're going to talk about Anna and the Apocalypse.
Yes. Can't wait.
Yes. Awesome. This podcast has been presented and produced by Stuart Ross and Jesse Tappett. Edited by Stuart Ross. All recording equipment provided by Photo Booth Productions. To support our podcast, join us at patreon.com/anothergayhorrorpod.